Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I apologize for the late delay. There were some technical issues that me and Xavi were trying to work out, but we got them worked out, and I hope everyone had a good week. I know mine was pretty good, extremely busy. I played the Dune Awakening beta and had fun with that. You'll want to check the video on that later. But let's go down the line, and Xavi, how was your week?
It's gone pretty well. I mean, obviously, could have been better, work's been iffy. And I'm just checking, and your screen, I believe you were broadcasting a couple extra windows on there. You do like a screen share, and you've just got your Discord on the same one? There, never quite free from stuff, but yeah.
Oh, stop wrecking the chair. Not you. Stop it.
I think I may need to just bite the bullet and get everything set up onto a virtual tabletop, even if like 90% of the features go unused, just so we can run through that instead of this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the interesting thing is, for some reason, OBS is not remembering the size settings that I'm putting for this. And so I'm having to resize it every time. And in order to resize this and have the overlays happen, I have to have it at the very bottom. But in order to resize it, I have to bring it back up all the way to the top to resize it. And I have to bring it all the way back to the bottom. And then I was rechecking things. I accidentally had one that said, oh, run for this application, or this, and it's like, okay, I have display and the application, and I was like, okay, I need to get rid of one of these, so just a bit of cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, Xavi, how was your week?
And like I said, work's been getting a bit slow. I had to skip one stream, did a good one yesterday at least, so yeah, stuff happens. Keep going.
Okay, and Ro, how was your week?
I had a good week here. Nothing super special, but we're coming into the long weekend here in Canada, so family's planning to go away for a couple days as a result, so we're looking forward to that.
Cool. And Meg?
Had a pretty decent week. It's a really kick-ass tight week, and yeah, just wrapping up the work week. I have the next 11 days off. As a reminder, I will not be available next week because I will be in Utah.
What part of Utah?
Salt Lake.
I want to join. I want to check out Utah Trike so bad.
You want to check out Utah what?
Utah Trikes. They're a company. They're a trike dealership, but they also make their own quads and accessories for trikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Looking forward to it. At the very least, looking forward to not working for a week and a half.
Yeah, so it's just time off is nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, there. I think I got it all fixed. I forgot to bring up my chat window so I could do roles. I forgot. I'm not GMing, I'm playing. Which, in all honesty, makes my job easier, but still, it's still the setup process, which is why everything was off kilter. I didn't have my chat window. I gotta remember, remind me next time to bring up the chat before doing any readjustments or scaling.
All right.
So, where were we last?
All right, so as I recall from last time, I'd just had a rather unpleasant encounter with a tiger woman who had kind of trounced you guys a bit. But thanks to Oriel's healing capabilities, none of you died. So that is likely better than expected. And she had been offered a few mildly helpful tips. One of which being that if you wanted actual help and information about what's going on, that's what she was willing to drop over for you. You needed to find the main camp led by someone called the Captain. Of course, she didn't really give you any advice on how to find it other than wander around and look for trouble, but
we found her and she's trouble, so doesn't that count? I mean, she did almost end us.
Well, to be fair, you did kind of shoot her wine.
That was Mag's fault. I blame Mag. I still haven't gotten used to players' character names yet, so I do apologize.
And that's why I've got them all up on screen there with your screen names and your character names both present.
Yeah. For me, I need to make that bigger.
Yeah, fair.
So I say we take her advice and we wander around and see what we can run into. I say we let Liaison, I think is what Mag's character's name's. See the L-Y, and then my eyes jump around like mad. Leonon? Okay, I say Leonon since he likes to jump into the action and just attack. He'd be the front runner.
Fine with that. I just don't remember what the layout of the floor was because of the downtime. I don't remember what other paths we had available to us.
Yeah, I don't either. We don't happen to have a map, do we?
No, I mean, I don't think any of you have been recording one, have you?
No. Closest I have is my little birds that they don't have a mapping tool, but I do have a very good memory. I've noticed that the world keeps on changing as we move through here, so I doubt it's going to do any good anyway, so I've noticed that the world shifts around us, so.
Bonus of what the GM's done. Doing it with this whole entire storytelling, no real actual visuals, can easily push the map making off onto us. And then if we think it's one way, because the way you created the world, it's like, nope, it's not that way anymore. It's this way.
My cunning plan has been discovered.
That's not much of a muhaha.
I mean, it's not much of a plan.
Yeah, that's what makes a great plan to play on. A great play on.
All right. And I mean, is there anything else you wanted to discuss about the encounter or any of the information you picked up from last week, or well, a couple weeks ago? Like the fact that multiple times the Tiger Lady had mentioned that it's a competition, that there's godhood is up for grabs in all this. Has that changed any of your goals or perceptions about how you're going to be going about all this?
I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily. I don't know that it's necessarily changed anything for me. I mean, the only thing that's really changed for me is my new goal is to kill that tiger woman. But,
And just because you didn't like her drink, you don't have to take it that personal.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, where is there a path that basically should we backtrack? Because this room ends basically with no other exit than the one that came in, right?
So it was like, so most of the corridors that you'd been going through had been, okay, the corridor ends and then it's the entrance over into like some area out here. But in this case, it was more the corridor was going straight, and then the room that you had that fight in was actually just a door off on the side, and then it just keeps on continuing straight.
It was a door off to the side.
Like, that's where you had gone in. So it's like you're going straight down a corridor. You had the big double doors over on the side there. You went in there.
Okay.
Then you come back out, willingly or not in some cases. And then, I mean, you can continue going straight down to wherever the rest of the corridor leads.
I figure that's where we should go and just continue on, look for more stuff to kill, since that's apparently what is giving us additional, abilities that will allow us to compete.
Yeah, she did mention that you needed to gain favor with your sponsors, and well, apparently they like action.
I'm just worried about the kind of action they're wanting.
Well, I mean, whatever it was, the little markers that you've got on your arms there, nothing changed about them from the fight that you had with her. So, I mean, at least you didn't lose anything.
Yeah. Hey, Dread, Ro, we seem to be getting some feedback off of your mic. Any chance you can work on that, or at least mute yourself when you're not talking? Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably just how the devices are set up there.
Yeah, well, when I do adventures with Dread and friends and play golf with friends with them, Magic, who's in the group, his seems to do the same thing. And basically, because he doesn't have an actual headphones that he wears and listens to everything through while playing, our voices are coming through his speaker, and so his mic's picking up the voice coming through the speaker. I think that's what's going on with Ro's setup. So, and then that's understandable, I mean, not everyone's going to have a setup like me and you have, Xavi.
Yeah.
Or anyone who works from home doing like call center work or any kind of work where they have to have the headphones separate so that things kind of, there is none of that back echo. So I understand it completely.
Yeah.
But it also gives me an idea for a gift to give to Ro. And in fact, actually, I think I'm going to do that, Ro. I want you to send me your address and an idea for headphones that would work for the system setup that you have. I'd love to send you a set. So just DM that to me in Discord.
All right, I'll do that later.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yeah, probably better. Safer to not do that on stream just in case something pops across.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I said through Discord. Because in the DM in Discord, even if he did it now, it wouldn't show up in the stream.
Yeah.
So, but the main reason I'm offering it to Ro is Ro's a long-time community member. And I appreciate everything he does to interact with the community and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I think I'm going to lead the discussion here to get back to the game. I think we should, because when we came down, this doorway was on our right or our left?
It was on your right.
It was on our right. So I say when we walk out, we make a right-hand turn and continue down the hallway and see what we find.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
All right, and anything else you wanted to chime in with, Ro, or is it good for following here?
I'm good for following along. I'm just sending my birds out to try and, whenever we go along, to try and give us a warning ahead and keep watch behind us.
Okay.
I like the design of your character. It's got that great scout feel to it. Smart thinking.
Right. Sandy, you have a dedicated supporter.
Yep.
All right, so start marching back through the corridors, and they do their usual sort of space warpery and distance fogging and everything that just makes it really annoying to keep track of any sort of distance and location inside here other than loosely relative paths. And going up from behind, you don't really notice anything, but as you're advancing, let's get the first roll of session in here. Let's go ahead, just do a mind check. We want to see if anyone notices anything visually specifically. So with Oriel, I believe you've got visual enhancement on there, so you would be able to do a minor edge on that, and then everyone else would just go in normal. And yeah, it's just your roll plus mind.
12.
And as usual, I forgot to pull up my character sheet, so give me a moment.
All right, yeah, so 12 over there. Okay, so you've got 16 for Cylin.
I'm just trying to find what looking for.
Yeah, I mean, pulling it from my side, I had your mind record is 5 on here.
Okay, I trust you.
Oh, well, I guess in that case it's actually 3.
No, I don't trust you. Who can you trust but your friends, except for Xavi? I mean...
Oh, perfectly trustworthy. As long as we're fully on the same side. Most of the time. All right. Boxcars for Ro with that edge here. And...
So that's 16 for me.
Okay. Yeah, so we got 16 to 12. All right, so normally the floor is... So it's somewhat... Yeah, in this section here, it's somewhat ornately tiled, but you're starting to notice that there's... It almost looks like there's a path of odd, small little divots that interrupt the pattern as you're going forward there. Not quite sure when you started seeing them appearing, but it's like small little footprints leading off ahead of you.
When you say divots, are you saying divots within the tiles, or divots that like where the tiles like in between them have been like pressed down? Does it look like a heavy footprint has bent the tile, or has caused the tiles to kind of cave toward each other in those areas? Like, I'm not sure what you mean by divot.
In this case, it's not so much that like tiles have been pressed down or crushed. It's more like they're just gone. So it's like it almost seems like there's a smooth stone that, like similar to what you'd seen before, back when you were first leaving your sarcophagus room, if you wanted to put it that way. So it's that kind of that sort of more rough, unornate stone showing beneath the tiles in just small little patches. Seems that it may like something, again, maybe a foot and a half long and quadrupedal. But there's no actual details on the divots itself there. It's just kind of like little round gaps in the tile.
Okay. Oh, and it just continues on ahead of us, and we haven't seen any branching off paths yet.
Not yet, no.
Okay. Does anyone have anything or any ability that they could use to examine those more closely for more info?
Well, I can look at a couple of different ways, but like I can check to see if they're recent. There's any difference in the heat coming off the ground would tell me whether it's been a while or not. But that's so looking at that because I have infrared vision. Is there any warmth difference in any of the ground?
Yeah,
or is it all?
So, interestingly, those divots are actually colder than the rest of the tiles surrounding them.
Well, that's interesting. Must be sucking up energy, which is very rare. All right. Well, and also, do I check any magic or evil in the immediate area?
I mean, the definition of evil is a little bit difficult on here, but as far as magic goes, the flow of magic through the floor is disrupted around those spots as well. Kind of fuzzes, for lack of a better word.
So we're coming across something that seems to suck up heat and possibly even magic. So, and is a quadruped. Don't know what it is, but I don't think it's going to be good for us.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like we gotta look for something to take down. How long would you say we have been like awake and out of our sarcophagi?
Well, unfortunately, with the problem in the hallways, time seems to warp a bit on there. But judging by just how you feel, if you recall having gone through from the time that you first awoke in the dungeon, if you were to call that morning, you would say, I mean, especially with that fight on here, it's starting to feel like it's a bit late for breakfast at this point.
Yeah.
So, starting to, I mean, it's not a point where it's like intensely distracting, but food would probably be appreciated.
Okay. I mean, I think we should continue down the path and keep an eye on those spots to make sure they don't vanish into some wall or hidden passage or something. Or make sure they don't climb up the walls or anything.
Are you needing substance?
Sorry?
Are you needing substance? Food?
I think I'm okay for the moment.
Okay. Just let me know. I can probably provide.
Cool.
Providing you have normal, regularly human needs. I don't know what you guys consider to be food in your world, so.
Organic. plant and animal matter?
That I can do.
And though she may be mute, she's never really quiet. Has Dylan had anything that she's wanted to comment on about this?
Nope.
All right. Unusual for once, but okay. All right, so continuing down the corridor.
Smart-ass comment to make or any relevant information to give. She has nothing to say.
Not even anything about getting food, huh?
Nope.
All right. All right, so continuing down the corridor, keeping an eye on the whatever prince that you're following here.
Oh, next time we get into some sort of combat, could we maybe work together a little bit better? I want to try and work towards this my inspire, so that next time we have a little bit better success in coordinating with these two, if they're of an agreement on this idea, rather than everybody just serve every man for themselves. I think we realized that fighting individually didn't work very well with that cat person.
I pull out my phone and I type out, hey, it's fine if it's every man for itself. I'm a woman. I'll be the last one standing. Enter.
I just don't know what kind of group tactics basically are going to be that useful to plan ahead on when we don't know who we're facing, or like on what terrain we're facing them.
Well, you have the ability to usually hold on to things. She has the ability to shoot things. You hold, she shoots. I distract. Or that sounds like a very basic plan that we could work with.
Sure. I mean, me grappling her didn't seem to do a whole hell of a lot of good, honestly. But we could try it again against a weaker foe. I felt like as long as I had some heavy stuff to pick up and slam into things, that seemed to work pretty well against the skeletons.
All right, slam things. She
shoots. Because the other issue that I have is against a singular enemy. So that's great to immobilize them, and then just have silent unload. But when we have multiple enemies, I'm not sure if that's going to be as effective, because then we have two people concentrating on one person while we get swarmed by everybody else. So I think that's a good solid tactic for one or a small number of enemies. But if we're dealing with 8, 10.
Okay, I seem to be following the trail of one creature. Mm-hmm. So we might use this as going forward for this one creature then. And if we come into bigger groups, we can work on some tactics for that.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, so you're all happy with that then? Or at least accepting of it?
Yep.
All right, let me just check something real fast.
The only problem I have is I don't like Xavi's idle animation. It makes it look like they're always pondering, and that worries me like to no end.
I'm sure it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
but I didn't go with the glasses, Clint.
I know you, and that's what makes me worry.
All right, and Ro, for Oriel's birds, it's full senses, right? Not just visual?
The birds actually have where is it? Here again. They have infrared and sonic as super senses.
I
have the ability with telepathy to borrow their senses and read their thoughts, so I can directly can see through up to 10 at a time.
Okay.
And there are 30 of them, so I can control about. I can see through roughly a third of them, like personally, to see regularly, and then with infrared and sonic as well. So.
All right. Well, as you're going along following this, the scouts that you've got to the rear pick up just this heavy, rhythmic clang, 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 clang sound, advancing as best as you can figure given the warping in your direction.
All right.
And
I will raise the shield behind us, and I will say, and I'll tell her, and coming behind, 180.
Something's coming up behind us.
Now, myself, I have heightened senses in sight, along with super senses for magic and evil. Magic would be 100 meters, evil and magic, special 6 senses within 10 meters.
Okay, and you're saying something's coming up behind us?
Yep. And I'm turning around and using a shield.
I'm going to go ahead and spin around and pull out my pistols.
I've got my tentacles out, built up.
All right.
Sounds like some sort of brass man. Or a tin man.
Oh, you're not sure about brass or tin, but
I'm using my own world equivalent, so it could be very different, but I just know what from what my world and what they use it would be a brass man or a tin man by the sounds.
Well, what's usually coming out of the mist, maybe about 10 seconds ahead of everyone else here, so enough time to pass on the description. Definitely not brass, definitely not tin. You've got just a hulking figure made out of, roughly humanoid, made out of steel, just kind of flat, angular panes, is just booking it down the hallway, and almost looks like it's just a giant, oversized suit of armor. But something that, like, you'd have to be ludicrously strong to be able to even stand up in, much less move, much less actually move at a sprint. And
how tall?
We're talking about nearly scratching the roof of the thing on here. Like, from side to side, they're taking up like 3/4 of the hallway.
Okay, I'm basically going to stand against the side of the wall and let them run past. And hope that's what they continue to do. But,
I take his lead, but a little bit further down the hallway. So having him in front of me, and I scoot down the hallway a little bit further and lean against it. At the same time, I want to use judge opponent and see how tough of a fight this is going to be. And what weaknesses they might have.
Well, as actually come in direct view from where you can see, rather than kind of the more overhead-ish. There's not much overhead to go with this guy in here, but overhead-ish that you would get from the birds. It's giant, heavy, dark steel armor, not spiked at least, but definitely it's not ornate at all. And almost, you've got these giant planks of metal that appear to be attached to the bracers that, honestly, they look like effectively, you could almost mistake them for doors if they're on hinges, but as it is, they're probably shields is your best guess, as they're being kind of, from just how they're being held. And you can also spot in this figure's, kind of in its shadow almost, there's also flashes of gold just behind it. And and with the sound of its footsteps, you can't really hear anything beyond that. And it's just echoing through the stone.
Okay, and can I, with judge opponent, am I able to see any weaknesses?
I mean, you think that's an eye slit. You might be able to get something in there. But with how fast it's moving for the size, it's not going to be an easy shot, even for you.
I wait to see what happens.
All right.
Is it approaching the ice slick?
Oh, you said you'd actually plan. I must not have heard that with everything else that was
No,
going
I think
on.
he
I heard you said
misunderstood
you put a shield
saying
down.
ice slit as ice slit.
No, I said I put down an ice slick. Sorry, I might have had my
Yeah.
Sorry.
I confused the two then.
All right, so you have it's both a force field and an ice slick behind everyone.
Yep. I figure if this is tromping down at a good speed, then it should hit that ice slick, and that'll give us hopefully a momentary advantage to work with it.
Is there anything like anything hanging from the ceiling that I might be able to grab onto?
No, in this section, there's no real ornamentation overhead, unless you want to, like, there's the occasional, like, supporting archway going by on there. But the stone itself only sticks out like a few inches from the ceiling for the arches. There's not really much to grab onto. All right, but all right, as it basically gets like with closer to you on here, the figure kind of jerks, the upper body kind of jerks upwards a bit, and unfortunately, that's also at the time when said figure reaches the ice, and so it's going stomp, 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 and then hits the ice. There is a cracking sound as it shatters, but it's also not the surface the figure was expecting. And that foot goes back. Figure goes forwards, just body slams through the force field that you've put up, and just goes tumbling, scraping, and screeching down the hallway. Basically, Priscilla, this sounds like a 10-car pile-ups just happening right in front of you. For a point of comparison to have. And you can't hear anything over just the massive metal tumbling down the hallway, which, let's see, everyone, let's get some reflexes checks here. See if anyone gets clipped. So
If I have lightning reflexes, what do I roll?
Lightning reflexes. All right, you've got 2 picks on that, so you'll get a major edge on this one, and we'll say it's just going to be a generic defense check over on this here. So your base combat value plus if you have a generic defensive boost. So it's not like a technique, so like an unarmed melee ranged wouldn't apply on here.
Just trying to think. So this isn't like a tripping thing, right? They do have a major edge on my flight, but I think that's to like get like swept. Basically, is what we decided.
Yeah. So basically, it's like when you're hovering out over the ground. It's
Yeah. So this thing.
Well, I mean, it's
underneath me or anything. It's just like I mean, it might be plowing directly into me.
I mean, you did say you're going over towards the edge of the hallway there, right? You're not standing right in the middle.
Yeah, I was basically trying to flatten up against the wall.
Okay, so it's limited mobility because you're against the wall on here, but you do have very good aerial control over what movement you do have. So we'll split the difference. You get a minor edge.
Okay, so with my roll, I have a total of 17, but I also have defensive combat mastery.
Yeah, so you'd add that in because that's just a generic defensive boost.
Yeah, so that'd be +1, so that'd be a total of 18.
Mm-hmm.
My maneuver to defend against this is I want to jump, push off the wall I'm up against, do a wall bounce off of that, and fly up and over or around to get behind it to the other side.
Okay, so basically, are you still going along with the wall, like parallel to it, or are you basically trying to go across the hallway, like over the top?
So I'm pushing. So the wall I'm against, which is right behind where Leon's character is, I'm gonna push against that, bring myself upwards in a diagonal angle towards the middle of the opposite wall, bounce off of that wall, push myself the direction to go up and over along the wall I just bounced against, to get behind the big metal creature thing.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. So basically, as the whirl of metal goes past, you do your fancy maneuvers across the top, bounce, and yeah, I mean, you're safely where it had previously been, and it's kind of sprawled on the ground in front of you. And let's see. And so, before I move on from that, for what happens next on that case, let's see. Defensive values for Oriel and Leonov.
I got 10 plus. If it's my unarmed defense, then it'd be 17 total.
All right, well, it's basically more of just a getting out of the way rather than like trying to block something on here, unless you actually wanted to.
I don't know what value you want me to add to that.
In this case, we're just your basic defense combat value, and then any generic bonuses rather than a technique
just
one.
Base combat value, then that's just 5.
Okay.
15 total.
Okay, 15. All right, and then Ro.
I rolled 8 plus 4 for my defensive, so that's 12. I basically just move against the wall and wrap my wings around me for protection.
All right, and then those wings there.
They absorb 10 points.
Okay, then I've got a note at a kinetic, so actually 20 points in this case. Just weak against anything that isn't straight physical. Okay, so some limb does kind of clatter against your wings as you're going past as they're going past. It rattles your teeth inside your head a bit on there, but you wind up not taking any damage off of it, just somewhat shaken. Right, and Leonov is... You're safe. You managed to slide past the chaos here, or let the chaos slide past you. Well, there's a bit of a shout from behind where Sylvan landed. That's kind of a robust masculine voice shouting, "Oh, Light, Yolosar, are you okay?" And apparently the flashes of gold were a somewhat tall guy in gold-trimmed steel armor who just kind of pulls up before the entire scene of chaos that has been caused here.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. I just got a text from my buddy saying that he's making a brisket next Saturday while I'm in Salt Lake, and I'm just
Okay, that's a
very
that's a valid thing to be distracted by.
Sorry, what was that last part?
All right, so there was a second figure behind the first that you couldn't see until the chaos had happened. Got a tall man in gold-trimmed steel plate armor, smooth and like noble knightly style to it. Has what is honestly the most magnificent mustache any of you have seen, and is in this robust voice as he pulls up, short of everything that just occurred. By the light, Elosar, are you okay?
Does he give us any mind? Does he seem to notice us?
And
Or is he talking to the giant armor thing?
his attention is definitely on the sprawled armor. And he's like within 2 arm lengths of you, Selen, if you were wanting to do anything.
So I want to, because my guns were out, I want to pull them out, and basically I want to have one pointed at the guy in the armor and one pointed at the mechanical thing.
All right, so weapons out and aimed at both the newcomers on the scene here.
All right. I know something of Aether Tech. Looking at this large armor thing, I'm trying to figure out what powers it, or where might be the engine or battery on this major thing. So in case we need to turn it off, I can point out and say, that's the spot to take out the engine or the battery of whatever it is.
All right, let's go for a mind check. If you have any skill levels that would be applicable here.
I have 2 levels of Aether Tech.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just do a mind check plus 2 for your skills then.
Okay. All right, so that would be a 5 plus 4 for mine is 9 plus 2 is 11.
Okay. That's a moderate roll on there. But it is enough that the figure in front of you, you don't see any like particular hot spots, like with regards to heat or magic, or there doesn't seem to be any sort of cables, pipe work, any connectors like that.
So it's not one of those armors with like the big, backpack or engine steam tech kind of things where you basically can say, oh yeah, that's where the steam engine is, or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah, no, nothing like obvious vents
No
or anything
giant
on there.
crystals or anything like that. Okay.
No, it's just solid, plain, kind of boring, if not for the scale, steel. Somewhat worn, a little more battered than it was a few moments ago. And Leonov doing anything?
I'm just kind of at the ready and want to see if anyone's going to do anything aggressive.
All right, well, there is a kind of a creak and a clatter as the figure stretches out one arm and a gauntleted thumb sticks up while the rest of the body is just kind of laying flat on the ground there. And there's a crash as the arm just drops down, taking seeing little sprays of tile off to the sides there as the shield mounted to it digs in. And then
Has the other guy noticed that he's got a gun pointed at him?
takes a couple moments on there, kind of sets back on his heels a bit, looks relieved. Oh, that's good to know, my friend. And oh, hello, it's not quite called for, young miss. And now he's looking at you, Selwyn. He looks kind of more shocked and a little bit embarrassed, but doesn't actually seem aggressive.
Okay.
Of course, you can't really text because you got both your hands busy right now.
I'll ask him, where did you come from? Where are you going in such a rush?
Looks around, realizes there's more people here. Past the person who's currently still aiming a gun at him, and like, oh, I'm a good fellow. I come to the land of, well, I suppose that's not really relevant right now. We are in pursuit of a dangerous, vile beast. Have you seen anything come past you yet?
No, what kind of beast are we talking about?
Oh, the worst, a creature of void that seeks to devour the roots of Yggdrasil.
What's it look like?
As he's talking, he's headed over to the other figure and reaches down and, rather than trying to actually lift an arm himself, he just kind of hooks his arm and lets the figure brace, and you see him strain as the other one starts to slowly, noisily stand up. Like, oh, why a void rat, my good young man here, and I say, I haven't seen any of you lot around the camp before. Are you new arrivals in this benighted place?
We are. We noticed what appeared to be some kind of footprints coming down this hall, and we were beginning to follow them ourselves, but we haven't seen the creature itself.
Oh, well, good instincts for such newcomers here. Yes, these are the greatest threats to our endeavors down in this darkened place. And it kind of lets out kind of a relieved gasp as the other figure finally stands. Then something seems to pass between the two of them on there as they stand and give a fist to chest salute to the three of you. And obviously the larger one, it's more of a fist to chest clang that echoes a little bit. It's like, oh, where are my manners? I am Ser Caleb Darat, and this is my companion, Ilosar Stillo. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, if rather less than elegant.
I'm Leonov Marov. Where's this camp you speak of? We just arrived a few hours ago.
It kind of looks somewhat expectant at the other two for continued introductions.
I put my guns away, and I pull out my phone. I type in that my name is Selena, and that's it. Hit send.
All right. And Ro, are you contribute on this round of dialogue?
I'm holding action.
All right. This is. Well, it would certainly be our duty to help new arrivals such as yourselves over to the camp to get oriented on everything that is going on here. But first, we must defeat our prey. If you're willing to accompany us, we would be more than happy to lead you onwards after this.
Only one thing. Every other thing that we've come across so far is, attempted to kill us, or at least kill me. Not feeling all that trusting at the moment. What can you do to assure us that you're not going to, turn on us, at your first opportunity?
I type in my phone saying, you have to give my friend here. He thinks everything here is about to betray him because he doesn't think ahead of time when asking for drinks from strangers to enter.
I was offered the drink. I didn't go begging for it.
Okay, well, when offered drinks, he's not suspicious.
Yeah, so this asshole here is going to sit there and be like, hey, come help us kill this thing. And it's like, what? I'm not supposed to be suspicious of that? Oh, hey, come help us hunt this giant beast. But hey, would you like a drink? What? Which of those two seems more suspicious to you, Silent?
In all honesty, the man saying we're going after something dangerous, I trust more than the person handling a green oozing substance to me to drink. Enter.
Regardless, apologies for our bickering here. You can see why, I'm not exactly anxious to jump on board with, any random person at the moment.
And at the
what kind of assurances that can you give us that you and your friend here, or for that matter your other friends back at camp, are upright citizens rather than awful feline assholes?
Is that at the start of the whole interchange here, where you're first asking him about assurances and such, he's just kind of pulls back, bristles up, looks hugely offended. As more information trickles back and forth from between the two of you, he just slumps. Oh, I see you met Bia. How beast brings disrepute to all souls in this place. And the heavily armored figure just lightly and loudly just clangs the gauntlet against his pauldron. And a moment there, he straightens back up and I assure you, young man, that the only reason that one such as that is present in these halls is purely from her own selfish whims. She dares not trouble those of us at the camp and would never cross the captain. At least her sister knows her place. It's a little bit bitter and kind of shakes himself and recomposes. Nevertheless, I give you my word as a knight of the realm that no harm shall come to you unless you bring it upon yourselves.
All right. I'm willing to tag along. Yeah.
Up
Do
for
you,
an adventure.
Hmm?
I'm up for an adventure.
I would just ask that you telegraph your moves openly until I get used to you.
Okay. Nods. She nods her head. And while looking at Leonos, she looks at Leonos and does a big, long, slow nod. I think actually right now is a good time for us to take a break.
Yeah.
All right.
So how about we take a 10-minute break and be back here at 7:15 our time?
That's good.
That's
Sounds good.
mostly West Coast, except for like Row, you know. But we'll be back then. Hotkey on my my stream deck for the roleplay session. Okay, got everything set. So we just finished discussing going with him to take out the creature. So I say we follow.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, let's do it.
I see. That's out Artie Excelsior! Onwards, my new friends! And then start. He and the giant armored that's currently called Ilisar starts charging the wave down the hall. And you see the attention is, well, on the same trail that you'd been following. And yeah, they're just running off ahead there. He shouts back at the rest of you. Do shout if you can't keep up, my friends.
So as we start moving forward, I want to play a soundbite from my phone. 2 halves of coconuts clapping together as we're walking.
I'm gonna as we're walking, I'm gonna see if I can is the mustached guy, is his forearm visible at all? Or is it covered up by like a long sleeve?
No, he's in full noble style knight style plate armor aside from not having a helmet on. So
Okay. Sorry, when you were describing armor, I wasn't sure if you were still referring to the other like behemoth armor thing. Okay, cool.
So only skin you can see on Caleb is just his head, and most of that's obscured by between his hair and his mustache. And for Ilisar, they're still not sure what's beneath that armor plate.
Okay, yeah, just following along. Probably keeping about like 5 to 10 feet behind them.
All right, and yeah, so you've got your gliding flight. That's definitely fast enough there to keep up. And Cylin's just generally fast to begin with on there, so you should be fine. And also, so Oriel, if you want to give up, you may need to. Let's see. Yeah, if you're in the back of the group, you can unfurl your wings and fly, or you're gonna have to be sprinting at a pretty good pace. What's your poison?
I guess I can fly at the back of the group if there's a. That gives me 30 kilometers per hour speed if I need it.
Okay, yeah, they're not sprinting that fast. And they're basically going about as good as the average person on a clip, not like Mr. 60 miles an hour downhill over there.
Hey, that's fun. Even funner when your butt's 5 inches from the ground.
All right, and should I assume you're deploying your birds to scout ahead of this, ahead of the 5 of you now, as well as back, like you normally do?
Yes, I do.
All right. So again, you can't hear anything over the giant stomping sounds, which are kind of slightly rattling your brains around inside your skulls at the moment from being so close. But you'll be fine, I'm sure. But what you do see through the birds are there's a collection of the skeletons that appear quite similar to what you fought before. It is mobbed up in the middle of the hallway, about maybe a couple minutes ahead of you there. There's apparently said skeletons also have cavalry, as there's a couple of them with long spears riding giant spiders. But they're all focused in around something, and you can't see what it is that they're surrounding, even with the angle given by your birds. Every now and then, one of the skeletons just gets yanked downwards and doesn't appear again.
Trouble ahead. Looks like we have some skeletons, and they seem to be spider riding skeletons, and they seem to have tried to corner something. I'm not sure what, but it looks like the skeletons aren't doing so well against whatever it is up ahead.
All right, and with that, the knight seems a bit more cheered. Ah, excellent. Even the denizens of this foul place despise these void rats and seek to kill them at any turn. They rarely succeed, but they attempt anyway, and in that we can respect their nobility. And the companion just kind of hefts both arms in front of it to form a shield wall as it's charging forwards, and gives no other verbal response. And the other two?
I want to go ahead and run up, jump, and grab onto the back of the big metal warrior whatever machine thing that almost like train wrecked into us.
Mm-hmm.
And look over its shoulder so I can see ahead of what's going on.
Mm. And it's not a smooth ride given their pace, but yep, they don't even slow down or shift their weight as you grab on. But you can see up ahead, you do the same thing as the birds, and wow, those are big, big spiders. Doesn't seem like they're looking at you, thankfully. But those are bigger than anything you've seen. And given your phobia, they are definitely taking all your focus right now.
Okay, second move. As soon as I see that they're actual spiders, I jump off the back of it. Hit a quick button on my phone that just says, hell no, hell no, hell no, and run back to the group.
Yeah, I mean, those things are the size of, cavalry horses.
Okay, I'm looking for just like anything at all that might keep an eye out for anything at all, like any kind of objects that I might be able to grab to hurl at things.
Yeah, unfortunately, the corridors themselves are not well suited to that part of your combat strategies. They just... maybe you can try and rip a sconce out of the wall there, but... it looks at least like it's mostly just the wooden torches. But you don't think that those would have enough heft to be worth the effort.
Okay, yeah, just continuing to follow along until we get within range of combat.
All right. Well, I have to keep looking up their names myself over here. Ilisar kind of hefts the arms again and picks up a little extra speed. Caleb drifts back a couple steps and draws this gleaming, almost glowing, fancy-ass two-handed sword from a sheath. And you swear that's gold leaf over on the hilt there, taking the shape of spread eagle wings. and just hefts it back as he prepares to charge in, and you would expect almost the sound of a bowling ball hitting a strike as Ilisar just barrels through the crowd of skeletons. You do see a large number of bones just spray around either side from the shield on there, and it's just, there's a significant amount of dust, more noise. Quickly, they basically kind of skid to a stop on the far side of the battle there, having plowed a path right through the center of everything. There's still the cavalry managed to cling on to the wall on either side there. Most of the melee participants are, well, no longer participating. And aside from a couple axe-wielding ones that have kind of fallen against the wall and are having some trouble getting up. And in the middle of all this mess, there's just this gap. Like, it's almost like a shadow that's moving, just without a source cast. If it generally sort of looks radish on there, but there's no shades. Any light entering the space where this is just vanishes.
Okay, how many spiders and how many skeletons are remaining?
I'd say there are, it looks like you've got 2.5 axe wielders. One of them's kind of missing his legs and is trying to crawl back over towards the void thing. But yeah, on either side of the hallway, you've got an axe wielder and a spear skeleton mounted on spider cavalry. And then just on the right is the extra half-axe skeleton as well.
Okay. Is there an axe that has been that has been discarded basically by one of the skeletons that just got crushed?
Now there's a lot of metal fragments around in there that may have once been weapons, but the currently only intact weapons from the skeletons are the ones being wielded.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and fire off several shots at the closest spider.
Okay, let me need to remember to knock that off. Yeah, let's go remember. I've got to be tracking on that. Okay, so it's basically mag dumping on one of the spiders then.
Not mag dumping. I'm taking cautious, sort of like pop shots. I'm actually pulling the trigger, bullet coming out in each pull.
Okay, so it's not like panic, kill it. It's just, I want that gone.
Yes, mainly because I ran back to the group. They moved forward. I'm staying behind the group. I know the group's between me and them. So the panic isn't as bad as, okay, I'm on the back of this big machine. They get to that big machine, I'm screwed. It's now they have to get past that big machine. They have to get past the knight. They have to get past the two others. I'm good.
All right. So let's go ahead. We will do initiative rolls first, and then basically we'll treat yours as effectively opening things up as a surprise round.
That's just a normal roll, right?
Plus base combat value.
Exactly.
All right, I've got a 15.
Got a 13.
Okay. Yeah, and you've got lightning reflexes, so you should have done yours with major advantage.
Reflexes on that.
Yeah, so as you roll 4 dice, take the top 2.
Oh, say that again?
Lightning reflexes it gives you a major edge.
Oh, major edge. Okay, so let me re-roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There you go.
12, 5, so 17. Thank you for reminding me on that.
Mm-hmm. So 17, Leonov said 15. I beg, you said you got a 15 on there?
Yeah, I got a 15.
Okay. Ro?
So I got a 9 plus 4 is 13.
13, all right. Come on. Helps if I can type. All right, we got... Okay, good thing the number of NPCs got thinned down significantly here. All right. That... So that one.
Hey, Atlas Galactus, how's it going? With all the rolls Xavi's doing, I feel like he's almost cheating.
Now, why would you say that? I mean, each of these is one roll per NPC. It's just a busy scene, is all.
Sure.
All right. So get this somewhat sorted here. All right, and yeah, as someone expected here, we've got Sillin going top of the order. So you are zapping, well, less zapping and more pewing the spider on, is it closest? So that's gonna be the one on the left. We got 2 guns doing, oh, and you've got your extra attacks. You've got your 3 actions here.
Okay. I'm gonna put them. Basically, I want to do a shot, see what kind of damage it does to it, and if it's not quite dead, another shot, and just keep going until it's actually taken out. And if it gets taken out and I have any shots left, I want to move to the next one.
Okay.
Normal roll, right?
Yeah, this would be normal roll, then plus your attack combat value, plus attack combat mastery, plus ranged attack pistols bonus.
12, 16 for the first hit.
All right. And we got medium pistol. There we go. All right, effective is 3, so that's going to be 15 plus your combat value on that 6, so you're doing 21 damage a shot with that thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, you see some ichor spurt from the thorax of the spider there. Yeah, because you're basically coming out of nowhere. I'm going to say they don't get a defense roll on this round.
Okay. And so,
but it's definitely not dead yet.
Yeah, so with that shot, I want to judge the opponent and see how much damage it actually did.
Well, I mean, due to it being a horrible, oversized monstrosity of an arachnid, you suspect that its exoskeleton is protecting it fairly significantly from your bullets.
Okay, do I have eyesight or line of sight with any of its eyes?
Oh, yeah. And you've got the one that's big compound and taking up basically a full third of its face there.
Okay, excellent. I want to aim for that eye. I'm going to do my next shot.
All right. And I was about to say, go ahead. Well, because you're doing a aimed shot for it, you'll basically take a minor obstacle on there.
I'll re-roll that.
Mm-hmm.
I choose the lowest two, right?
Yeah, and that's why I just said 5 on there. Because that's how it got set up, so that the obstacles and edges will automatically grab the ones that you needed.
12, 13.
Okay, yeah, that's still... You feel that your shooting could have been better, but like form-wise on it there, but it's still a decently sized target. So yeah, that one, it definitely hits home. It is now giving off screeches that echo in your nightmares in particular.
Yeah.
And is flailing around as the skeleton is trying to retain control.
Okay, and then I'm going to shoot at another eye.
All right. And it does have quite a few of them.
Yeah. So this is my last action, and that is a total of 14. So one
All
above, a little bit better of a shot than the last one.
All right, so another of the horrible monster's eyes pops, and it just kind of spasms a bit, and the spear skeleton that was riding it gets launched forward and crashes into the ground next to the void rat in the middle of this whole mess.
That's
and it's still twitching and flailing, but I mean, it no longer has a range advantage, and it seems somewhat distracted. And mark off another 3 of your limited supply of bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. And next up, Leonov. Mega, you're up.
Sorry. Didn't realize I was muted. So I'm mildly concerned about directly attacking the Void Rat based on what the knight said about essentially the Void Rat like energy. I'm afraid that'll mess me up if I make direct contact with it. So I am. Am I within range to attack the skeleton that's on the ground?
Yeah, one of the axe skeletons. I think you've got the. I say, yeah, you're within melee range of either of the intact ones or the one that's minus its legs.
Okay, let's go ahead and deal with the damage one. I want to basically just try to smash him so I can take his.
All right. Violently mugging a poor maimed skeleton. Tisk.
Okay, so that would be a 14.
All right. Yeah, we're still in a surprise round here, so yes, I will say you hit. And effectively unarmed, so we got 10 plus your base on there. When I'd actually recorded this down. There it is. Yeah, so unarmed, we're looking at 15 there. Yeah, you finished splintering them, and so I assume you want. So, one action splinters Mr. Half-a-Skelly. And
okay,
yep.
Then I want to pick up the axe, and I assume that takes an action.
Yeah, grabbing and wielding the axe with You'd probably have to go with the tendrils if you want to do that this turn on there, because they're the ones that are in range. Your physical body would need to take an action and get up closer.
Yeah, no. I'm intending to only grab it with the tendrils. And then I'm going to essentially just hold it with the tendrils, and then essentially ready a defensive action.
All right.
Last action.
Okay. So that skeleton would have been going next, but its future has been cut short and, in fact, removed entirely. Ro, you're up.
I'm going to do my general starting point, and I'm just going to put down an ice slick in front of our our group here, so that any of the skeletons decide to head this way, or this void rat charges towards us, that we have some level of protection or something.
Okay, so are you saying that basically in front of the U3 group or in front of the knight as well?
Well, the knight has plowed into the skeletons themselves, right?
Well, it's the heavy armor that did the running shield bash through the entire group. Okay. So that person, that being, is over on the far side of the mob here. And then the knight was following behind, but had legged just to let everything kind of settle through there. So he's between you and the mob.
Yeah, since he's between us and the mob, and it looks like he's planning to go into the mob, I'll put down the ice like between us and the knight.
Okay.
He seems to be a melee type person and wants to get in close, and most of us tend to be more ranged.
All right. That's fair.
All right, that's my actions.
Yeah, one person in the group here that doesn't have multiple actions yet. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to work on that later if you choose to. But, all right, your ice slick forms and gives you a nice smooth barrier covering up all the divots that had been ripped out of the floor through this entire exchange. And nice, glinting, slightly foggy ice settles between you and the fairly unorthodox mosh pit. All right, next we've got. All right, so we've got the spider on the left continues to flail. The skeleton that had been forcibly dismounted is attempting to get back onto its feet. Oh, and it does, and it has its spear wielded and is focusing entirely on the void rat. Like it doesn't even is not acknowledging anyone else's presence whatsoever. And the giant armor finally manages to come to a controlled stop this time. And has a bit of a turning radius there as they manage to get facing back in. And yeah, and they're stomping back forward. And they are going to actually try and peel the other spider cavalry off the opposite wall there. All right. That. All right. That is a hit. And well, you've now discovered that these spiders can fly with sufficient impulse behind them. As the skeleton that was riding it basically winds up dropping straight to the ground. The spider is propelled in your direction, lands on the ice slick, and goes sliding towards your group there.
I immediately jump backwards. I don't care how close it got. My character just immediately jumps backwards and hits a button. Watch it!
All right, so we'll just go ahead and peel that action off from your next turn there, so you'll get the...
So I'll just have two instead of three.
Yeah, but that's fair. All right, so the skeleton itself is having to regain its feet. Oh, it never even really stumbled on there, so it actually lands on its feet and is just charging in towards the rat. Thrusts its spear forwards. All right, they aren't actually in surprise to each other, but the rat-shaped void doesn't even... I mean, it's kind of hard to make out the details of it, given that it's just complete matte lack of anything from what you can see. And that's going for all your senses as well. You're not getting any heat, you're not getting any magic. There's no emanations, light or otherwise, that are coming back from this. And it doesn't really seem to move. The spear strikes in towards the middle of it. You can hear kind of a faint hissing sound as it starts to make contact. And when the skeleton pulls the spear back, the entire head and like front 4 inches of the spear are just missing. You can see a faint black mist coming up from where they were that quickly dissipates. Now, the spider is dazed and attempting to get back onto its legs. Of course, it's also on the ice, though, so it's skittering. It manages to very wobbly get back up onto all 8, but it's not steady. The legs are kind of skittering back and forth, trying to get purchase there, and that uses up its actions. So it's standing between you 3 and everything else, but it's halted on the ice. So we got, all right, acts full-scale skeleton on the left. Gets up and charges in to basically get into range with the rat. Skeleton on the right does the same. Knight finally gets up to speed for his case there. Got his sword. Just the glow seems to intensify as he brings it low for a running strike and charges forward. He kind of shifted a bit to make sure that he didn't get hit by the spider going past, but his eyes are locked forward as well. And he's bypassing the skeletons entirely. Does a charging swing towards the void rat. So the tip of his sword cuts up through the surface of like the tile of stone beneath the ground, sending a spray of debris forward. The debris that lands on the rat vanishes and doesn't continue on. And it seems to actually hitch for just a moment as it hits the patch of darkness there. But then it continues onwards. Black mist streaming off from it, but the blade itself not appearing diminished. With this, you've got... It's basically a screech from hell just echoes between your ears. Like nails on blackboard with... that's being played through feedback microphone. Levels of bad there. So he at least managed to strike something. It's no ill effect, but it is severely unpleasant. Like the birds in the area, they do get a effect from this, and they just kind of, they're knocked out of the air by this. And then finally the rat void itself. With that, it had kind of curled up and skitters backwards more towards the armor, getting distance from the bright blade that had harmed it. And that is its action. And that takes us back over to the top. Dylan?
I actually think since we only have 5 minutes, that we should
won't
call
complete
this
another round.
call this the end and hold off. That way we're not in the middle of a round.
Yeah.
Because I know probably Ro has work tomorrow and Mag has work tomorrow, and you maybe. No, I don't know. Do you guys have work to do tomorrow?
Like I was saying earlier, I'm off for the next 11 days.
Oh, that's right.
Long weekend, so I'm good.
You guys want to go longer?
Sure.
I go long enough to finish this battle off at least.
We don't know how long this battle's going to last.
Yeah.
2 days later, and...
Well, we need to put a pause on this because I have to go to work because it's Monday now. And
yeah.
I think the top of this round is probably a good place to call it, so we can start off with your having struck several major injuries against the horrible monstrosities here and mangled a skeleton.
Yep. I already know my next target. And the target after that, and the target after that. And once all the spiders are gone, then I gotta figure out what to do.
Alright, so hope folks had fun with all this.
So I want to thank you guys all for watching, and have a good night.
Night, everyone.
Night.